How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Is It a Buy, where we talk about stocks and trying to determine if they are with a buy or maybe a pass. My name is Corey. I'd just like to preface the video by saying I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about stocks, so please take what I say with a grain of salt, all right? Let's get into the video, guys. Today was a huge day for AMC. It was the second quarter 2021 earnings webcast, right? The earnings call for AMC. So there was a lot to go over. I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight into it and touch on just basically all the big points, anything I thought was relevant on the stock. And if I miss anything that you felt was relevant, just let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to, I don't know, I'll pin it or something. All right. So let's go and get into it. So we can see here, there was a post from Adam Aaron directly. He said, thanks to money raised in May and June, AMC ended the June 30th, 2021 quarter with more than $2 billion of liquidity. This is cash in the bank or undrawn revolving credit line, right around double the highest quarter ending liquidity level AMC has ever had before in our 101-year history, right? So this is huge. These guys have a lot of cash, a lot of capital, a lot of liquidity that they can use to help sustain through COVID, right? We know the Delta variant is out. We know it's running rampant, and we don't really know what's going to happen. There's a lot of uncertainty going on, and Adam Aaron said, their biggest concern right now is making sure that whatever they invest in, whatever they do, they keep enough cash and liquidity in order to sustain in the unlikely event of another lockdown or anything that can happen. They just want to make sure they're going to be able to survive COVID. And if and when they can survive COVID, then they will really start diving in and innovating on and taking, I would say, bigger risks in their innovation, because they're continuing to expand and do what they can with what they feel will be worth it. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. All right. So let's go ahead and continue. So we can see here they beat projections for revenue. They hit around $444.7 million in revenue versus the expected $382 million in revenue. So these guys are killing it so far, okay? Killing it. It's fantastic. All right. Little things. And so Adam Aaron said that whenever people are going back, they miss the movies and they've been splurging. He said that he would have been happy with, let me go ahead and read this. So food and beverage per patron was up 44%. Okay. Adam Aaron said, they'd be happy with up 2%, 2 or 3%, but they were up 44%, just smashing anything that they could have hoped for. And he admitted, he said, I'm sure a lot of people miss the movies. They're just splurging on what they're doing, what they're buying, and just want the full movie going experience, which is fantastic, right? Especially for AMC shareholders, that's what you want to see. I know a lot of the apes are, they talk about that. They want to go to the movie. They want to support AMC. The best thing you can do as an AMC shareholder is support your brand, right? You don't want to be an AMC shareholder and then go to Regal theaters at every single chance you get whenever the AMC is the equal distance away, right? So make sure you're supporting your company. That's what a lot of people do anyways. If you're invested in McDonald's, don't always eat at Burger King. So I'll just put that out there. During the metric, so they had a lot of numbers that weren't so fantastic, but Adam Aaron, he was very quick to say, and it makes a lot of sense, we're still in COVID time. This is not normal 100% capacity. Movies, people are scared, and they're not running at 100% capacity if they wanted to. They're making sure that they're taking their safety precautions. There's a lot of stuff going on, and for this reason, they're using a different metric. They're calling it capacity utilization. Okay, and it's basically the percentage of seats sold over the total available seats for sale, right? And so they're seeing, so what is their capacity utilization looking like? And so in Q1, it was 41%. And Q2, 61%, Q3 so far has been 68%, right? And this is telling us that people are continuing. These numbers are trending upward, meaning people are continuing to go to the theaters as they feel more comfortable, as they feel what's going on, as they feel safe, they're going to continue to go to the movie theaters, and they're going to continue to, these numbers will continue to rise. And it's fantastic, right? So it's trending upward. They're doing very well, and hopefully this trend just continues. And this company looks extremely solid, and they look extremely solid. We're going to continue to go over this stuff. So they said that they have no debt maturities until 2023. So basically, they're able to kind of, with this cash of liquidity, they're able to kind of allocate it where they need to before their debt matures. Okay. And so essentially they have a few different ideas, and I go over it a little bit lower, but I'll just go over it really quick. One of the things that they want to try to do is, since their debt hasn't matured, they're going to try to close some of it out potentially earlier. If again, they know that they can survive the pandemic, that's what they're going to try to do. So basically what he says is, some of their debt is I don't want to say on sale, but if they owe $1 million in debt, and some of their people that they owe debt to say, look, if you pay cash right now, we'll just do $750,000 instead of $1 million, and we'll just call it even. And so that's one of basically the gist of how they can pay off this debt cheaper and earlier, and to make their company look even better. Okay. He had a pretty interesting point that I didn't really think of all of these, but he says, movies aren't going anywhere. People got radios, TV, VCRs, DVDs. He said every single time one of these new inventions came out, they always said, it's going to kill movie theaters. It's going to kill movie theaters. It's going to kill movie theaters. And so far, movie theaters are still standing, right? They're still standing. You can't... There's nothing like that experience, right? This experience is so huge to be in a movie. I personally freaking love movie theaters. It was my family's pastime. We always went to the movies. Every single weekend. We just love it so much. We would always go to it. Actually, it's an AMC theater. Or was it yeah, I think it was an AMC theater. But anyways, it was always fantastic, right? We loved it so much. And Adam Aarons feels that they can take on streaming as well, and we're going to get actually into streaming because he had a pretty interesting point, pretty interesting fact that he was going to share with us for streaming about a deal that they've kind of worked out. So he says Q2 movie attendance was 3 times that of Q1. Okay, people are going. They're, like I said, they're branching out. They're ready. They're sick and tired of being at home, me included. And they are ready to go to movies, and it's showing based on the numbers that they're seeing. Okay. They did close some locations, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, oh, everything is kittens and rainbows. No, like their numbers aren't exactly where they were in 2019. They're kind of gauging everything off 2019, since 2020 was a wash, essentially. Not even a wash. It was just bad. So they're basing everything off 2019, and with that being said, 2020 was not a good year, obviously. So they did have to close some locations, and basically what they did is they closed some locations. They had to trim the fat, and they looked for better opportunities, and they found some. I think he said they're opening around 10 new theaters or something. But opening this month are 2 of LA's highest grossing theaters. Okay, and they're continuing to open more theaters, and this is fantastic. I think Adam Aaron is very smart for looking for these kinds of opportunities. I think there was a failed a chain, and they've been looking at buying those failed chains theaters, right? It's very smart. What an opportunity to get in there and make these plays, because it's not, it's very scary to hop in and make these plays. It's almost like investing in a stock. Like it's like investing in AMC before you knew if they were going to go bankrupt or not go bankrupt, right? It was very risky, but with that risk came a lot of reward, right? And I'm a true believer in it. I got caught up in the risk versus reward, and I was rewarded very, very, very heavily for taking that risk. Something that they're branching into, which we've seen, is they're going to be showing concert movies like the Chance the Rapper one, professional sporting events like the MMA that they already showed, esports events. They're actually even looking into more sporting events. And they are trying to reach out to GameStop to see if there's any kind of partnership they can do. They haven't reached out yet, but it's something that they're looking into doing. And he is going to reach out, but they're going to have to see. He says it takes 2 to tango, so they're going to have to see if there's any kind of collaboration they can do. I would not be surprised in the least bit if they did do something, but it would probably be, I don't know what they would actually do. It would probably be some kind of either, well, he didn't say this, but I would assume it's probably going to be either showing the esports events, or maybe maybe a gaming tournament in the theaters or something. I'm really not sure what it would be, but we'll see what they go ahead and continue to do with that. But I just say I think this is important because they're continuing to innovate, right? Movies, and we've talked about this on my channel. Movies are what they are. Like, they're I personally love it. They're fantastic. But movie theaters, how do you innovate in movie theaters, right? Unless you're going to go to VR, which he actually is looking into. What else can you do? So he said he was going to be looking at this. Even they also mentioned, if you know about Fathom events is essentially they show plays and stuff. They're not going to be doing Hamilton, but for example, if they were to show Hamilton on a big screen and just sell the tickets like that, that's the kind of events that they're looking into. And Adam Aaron is partnering with certain talent agencies to see what they can bring. They said by end of year, this one's pretty crazy. By end of year, they will be able to accept Bitcoin for food and tickets, right? That is actually freaking huge, okay? Accepting Bitcoin for food and tickets. That's amazing. All right. Talk about innovation. Let's see. They'll also be accepting Apple Pay and Google Pay. And again, the reason why he mentioned Apple Pay and Google Pay, and the only reason why I wrote that down is because while it seems simple, having it so easy for people to pay and convert, I mean, like web development, and at a marketing company. So we're always looking at conversions and like, is it going to, what's going to help people convert, right? And it may seem silly, but one of the common conversion issues is if you're on an e-commerce website, like you're trying to purchase something on a website, and it's like, okay, well, now I got to put it down. I got to grab my credit card, and you say, okay, I don't have my credit card on me. I don't know my number. So I'm just going to like buy it later, and you never buy it. And so making it this easy for people is actually a big deal. And I wanted to include that because while it seems relatively simple, and it is, theoretically, I suppose, it's a great step. It's a fantastic step forward. Okay, so here's the big one. So WB. So as we all know, Warner Brothers, they have a deal with HBO Max, and where they're gonna just release the movies the same day on HBO Max. So they actually now are so WB will give AMC a 45-day buffer, so they can show the movie before it goes to streaming platforms, right? And so this is absolutely huge. So now, like, for example, Suicide Squad just came out on HBO Max, and you can just watch it at home if you already have an HBO Max subscription, which understood. Why would you pay extra whenever you're already paying for HBO Max subscription? Or you can now you'll have to wait, right? You have to wait 45 days. And me personally, I'm not going to wait 45 days. Even though I have HBO Max, I'm not going to wait 45 days to see a movie where I'm going to see all these spoilers. I just have to see it. And so for me personally, like this is a fantastic. It's like that awkward time of like, do I wait? Do I not wait? I don't want to wait. So this is perfect. Like, I will be going to do it. They're also speaking with other studios to see if they can continue with that kind of offering so that they don't have these kinds of issues, right? Where streaming, and this is how they combat streaming. If you can only see it in the theater, I don't think will die. Okay. That little bit of the difficulty, right, of having it already there, or having it, being able to go to the movie theater, I think is just difficult enough that, people are like, what, I'm just going to go to the theater. It's worth it. It's fine. And yeah. Okay, so something that I wanted to talk about was Adam Aaron is going to be doing a 10b5-1 plan, okay? I had no clue what this is. I had to pull it up, and we have it right here, okay? So, and this talks about his shares, right? He has, 12, I can't remember exactly how many shares he has. He has a bunch of shares. He says he has never sold a single share in the time he's been with AMC. He did give some to his 2 adult children that most people know about if you follow AMC in any capacity. And so let's read about the 10b5-1. Okay, so Rule 10b5-1 allows company insiders to set up a predetermined plan to sell company stocks in accordance with insider trading laws. The price, amount, and sales dates must be specified in advance and determined by a formula of metrics. Both the seller and the broker making the sales must not have access to any material non-public information. Okay, and so the reason, let me explain why he's doing this. I should have done that before I read this because I don't want to show anybody, but the reason he's doing this, his birthday is in September. He's about to turn 67 years old, and any person with any kind of investing knowledge, education, just common sense would say, you know what, he should probably start saving for retirement. And so, while I'm sure he's already saved for retirement, he's good to go. He is going to, give this his shares to, I guess, this firm, and they're going to control how they liquidate the stock. Okay, or his shares. He has I'm sure millions of dollars worth of AMC stock, and he's going to just get it ready for his retirement. Okay, and so that's what he's going to be doing with this. So just keep that in mind. If you do see that Adam Aron is liquidating the shares, just know this is part of his plan. He's not going to let AMC go in the dumpster. It's good to go. It is all part of the plan. Okay, so just keep that in mind. When and if he starts selling those shares start to be liquidated. It's very important for the apes to know what is going on, and that it is not him not believing in the company or anything like that. Okay, I think that's a very, very, very important part. Okay, and then there were questions that people were asking at the end of the video, and these are the questions that were in that what is it called, the poll that we had seen online that a lot of people saw. If you're in the AMC subreddits or subreddit, then you would have seen that poll that everyone's asking about dividends, how many shares AMC, how many average shares AMC stockholders have, stuff like that. Okay, so here we go. Any plans for a dividend? So due to their debt plans and the way they're going to have to pay back the debt, yada yada, they actually cannot offer a dividend at all based on their agreement until about a year. A year from now, right? So it's going to take a whole year. Even then, they're going to have to talk through it, evaluate it, see if it's worth it, see what it would look like, go through the process. I mean, I really would not be banking on a dividend for anything like this. Okay. Well, AMC partner with GameStop. So as mentioned before, they are willing to do so. However, and they will reach out to GameStop and see if there's any kind of interest and anything they can do there. Okay. Something they talk about is drive-in theaters. Is that something that they want to bring back and make happen and make it work? Adam Aron said it's really just not a good economical decision for AMC. There's a lot of logistics that go into it, and it's seasonal because in the wintertime, people don't want to be in the cars the whole time, and they're far away from the screen. He had a lot of logistics that I kind of understand. I've been to a few drive-in theaters during the pandemic, and I really. Some good, some bad, but some of them were expensive. Some of them were like $1 or $2. It was like $2 for the car. It was insane. So it's kind of all over the place, but not really something that Adam Aron wants to dive into right now. I kind of don't blame him. So it is what it is. How is AMC preparing for Delta surge? And so he said, they have safe and clean protocols. He doubts that there's going to be a lockdown. But again, having that liquidity that he talked about previously, this liquidity is extremely important in the plan to make sure they can survive in the event of any kind of lockdown, continuing COVID issues, anything like that. He does urge, if you're an AMC shareholder and you want AMC to do well, I mean, realistically, he mentions you have to do your part. You have to do your part to stop the spread of coronavirus. If you stop the spread of coronavirus, you do your part, other people do their part, then imagine, it dissipates, it's gone, or virtually gone at least, and, people can go to movies and there's no more lockdowns, no more FUD of lockdowns, or if it's going to surge, or if people are going to get sick or not going to be able to go, or whatever's going to happen. Like, you can kind of directly affect AMC and these other stocks that you may be long on that could be directly affected by the vaccine, such as like cruises and stuff. I almost said Carnival Cruise, but cruises and stuff, right? You can change that, right? You have an effect on it. So, it's, I highly recommend getting vaccinated if you aren't already. But this is not that kind of channel. This is not a political channel, but look out for yourself and your loved ones. If not for you, think of your loved ones. Think about. Anyways, I'm just going to continue on. Some debt is trading at a discount. So this is what I talked about before. Whenever he talked about settling their debt and stuff like that. So he said some of their debt is trading at a discount. They may be able to spend some of this capital in order to reduce the debt. Okay. Somebody asked about merge. He said, maybe there's a lot of logistics that go into bringing merge to 600, locations. And is it really worth it? Do people want merch? Like, it'd probably be a better offering online. But he really didn't mention the online, but I just thought about that. So maybe that's something they can explore if people do want to buy a merch. Could live theaters like Hamilton, we talked about this already. Could live theaters like Hamilton be screened? They're experimenting with ones, but they're talking with talent agencies to see how this can be done. And so we already covered that one though. Someone asked, could the AMC mascot be a gorilla? Adam Aaron said they'll probably go without a mascot for now, but they are working on branding, and they're he's trying to really rebrand AMC theaters. He didn't really say into what or what he was going to do. He just said be on the lookout for new AMC branding and how they're going to kind of reinvent themselves. So somebody asked if AMC is interested in partnering with the studio to make movies. For example, if it was who had to, I can't recall if someone had this kind of partnership, but essentially if, Netflix, how Netflix now makes their own movies that are exclusively on Netflix, and they're saying AMC exclusive blockbuster movies, he said, it's difficult, super expensive. They proposed something like this before, and the shareholders were really split on it. And they kind of tabled it because they didn't want the split of the shareholders to kind of drive the company apart. And we've seen this before with the 25 million shares that Adam Aaron just took off the table because he didn't want to split the AMC shareholders. And I respect that decision. So, and he also said in order to do that, the company would need a lot more capital. It's not cheap to do that, obviously, right? So yeah. The final question here was AMC, has Adam Aaron thought about turning AMC into a family entertainment type of facility? I don't know. There's a few different ones. I don't know which ones you would be familiar with, but think Dave & Buster's with a movie theater where there's bowling, dining, games, stuff like that. And he said he tried some of those, and oh man, I can't really remember what his stance was, but they have some things like that, but I can't really recall what his definitive answer was, but a good suggestion. I mean, I'm sure they're looking into it. They have, I don't know if they have bowling in any of their theaters, but they do have food in some of their theaters. So yeah, so that's kind of what they talked about. And with all this information, I guess I kind of want to tie it into, if you're watching this, you're probably in on the AMC squeeze. You're probably interested in AMC. And with all this positive news, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. If we look at the Ortex information about AMC, we can see AMC is still a heavily shorted stock, and the hedge funds, the institutions, are continuing to short this stock just in case anything. I have a few theories as to why they're shorting it, but realistically, the shorts have not covered, right? I'm seeing here that these numbers, the shares on loan, the utilization, the short interest of the free float. I mean, if you're not familiar with these numbers, just know that these numbers are continuing to go up, meaning the stock is still extremely shorted. And I think that there's a huge opportunity here with AMC, as long as they don't go bankrupt, which it doesn't look like they're going to go bankrupt, right? So, I just wanted to bring that up just in case anyone is maybe new to the channel or curious about what's going on. And I think it's pretty interesting stuff, right? And I talk about it every day on the live stream, so if you want, just watch the live stream or follow me or whatever you want to do. But that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. If you did like the content, please consider subscribing. If you want to see more like this, if you want people to see what's going on and know that AMC is looking freaking solid, hit that like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, all right? But that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video again. Have a great day. Peace.